Today in the Tribune Insider, Ross Ramsey talks about the influence political action committees, or super PACs, have on political campaigns. And reporter Kate Galbraith explains the challenges facing Texas as it addresses the state's wind power boom and works to build enough transmission lines to take the power to growing Texas communities.
So there's two new things in politics that are sort of big things and I think are going to change the way they run political campaigns from president on down. One of them is the restrictions against corporations giving money to campaigns and against labor unions giving money to campaigns are blown. Basically means you can get more corporate money directly behind candidates, you can get labor union money directly behind candidates. So you've kind of opened those two fire hydrants. And then the second thing is also because of court rulings, they've created these super PACs that are basically PACs that can do everything, almost everything that a campaign does except have a candidate. There's a super PAC called Make Us Great Again, and it's run by, or was formed by, Mike Toomey, an old friend and running buddy of the governor's, and G. Brent Ryan, who's a tax consultant and owns a successful tax business and is a big Perry contributor up in Dallas. So they start this thing called Make Us Great Again. Their goal is to raise $55 million, and they're going to spend money trying to get Rick Perry elected. Now, they both know Rick Perry. Toomey knows him really well. So they're going to run this $55 million campaign. They're not allowed to talk to the Perry campaign about it. But they don't need to, because Toomey knows him so well. He knows his politics so well. It's going to be as if it's like a mind meld. So if you were a consultant, this is a little bit of make-believe, but not that much. You can effectively run a political campaign and do everything you would do in a political campaign. Raise money, raise issues, run ads, do door hangers, whatever it is you want to do, except talk to the candidate who's benefiting from your campaign. From a candidate standpoint, a super PAC or one of these PACs can do a lot of the dirty work of a campaign. They can attack your opponent, and you don't have any fingerprints on it. I'm not talking to those guys. So it's an interesting new thing in politics, and I think either this presidential cycle or the next presidential cycle, we'll see the super PACs actually spending more on the candidates than the candidates on campaigns.
Well, Texas is building about $6.8 billion, latest estimate, of transmission lines around the state to aid wind power. A lot of wind is, it's really windy in West Texas, but a lot of people don't live there, so they're building just thousands of miles of lines, huge, big towers and lines around the state to ferry that power from these windy mesas in the west and the panhandle to cities like Dallas that need the power. And I was up in Sweetwater recently to report on this. There are guys just building the lines. These wires are just kind of going up, and it's pretty neat. This project has been controversial around the state because even though landowners get paid if you put a big transmission line through your property, a lot of people don't want these enormous tall steel towers and wires going through their land. Around Sweetwater, which is an area that's very used to wind power, some of the businesses told me, like a barbecue place in Best Western said, oh, we've gotten a lot more business because of all these transmission line workers. So they were kind of excited. Right now, Texas gets about 8% of its electricity from wind, which is a huge amount. Nationally, year to date, it's about 3%. So we're the leading wind power state, and this project, these transmission lines, will effectively enable us to nearly double the amount of wind power in Texas. There have been efforts to make the lines not run right across somebody's property, but maybe go on the fence line or follow a highway for as long as possible. But that's more expensive, and ultimately ratepayers in the state of Texas are going to end up with $5 a month on their electric bill for years to pay for these lines. And so I think that's another element yet to come.